So what we're seeing, especially in larger urban areas, but in a lot of rural areas too, is simply from a social equity point of view, we need to be talking about bicycling, walking, transit, because we can't ignore a third of our population. And of course, that percentage is, I'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow, but that percentage is going up all the time. And what do you think is probably the main contributor to that fact? Yeah, one is age. People are getting older, getting gray hair. What else? Pardon? Yeah, gas price. People can no longer afford to drive. I was working in some really low-income areas in Dallas recently. We were finding that in some of those neighborhoods, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 people were no longer had an automobile with that household. Now, they weren't making that choice for environmental reasons or anything else. They simply couldn't afford it anymore. So I'll talk more about some of those changes tomorrow, but there is a change, and so the whole notion of social equity, how it fits in with transportation, is behind this sort of sea change that's occurring in terms of some of the support for this. So I alluded to this a minute ago. What's the relationship of this to other manuals? 2009, I already mentioned this, the MUTCD, Manual Uniform Traffic Control Devices. That's a new manual. That's the must one. And so this AASHTO guide needs to obviously sing the same song, work with this guide. They do, and the new MUTCD has a lot of good stuff in there too about bicycling and also walking with pedestrians. I'm focusing a little more on biking today, but we do equal amount for walking. In fact, obviously a lot more people walk than bike, so feel free to talk about that later too if you like. Other key books, the Green Book, the AASHTO Green Book, that's the really big fat one. Some people like to think of the bike and the ped AASHTO guides as sort of appendices to that. I think that puts them in a